Well, just before we get going, friends, if you like this channel, the best way to support me is to buy a course at the academic agency, but also you get something awesome in return, which is lifelong skills that you'll learn by doing the courses. There's currently a spring sale on, promo code MELLOW, 25% off all the courses, including the bundles, and I'll let you get on with the video. Now, you may think of Tony Blair as just another smiling politician, but you'd be wrong. He is in fact a dark lord of tremendous power, power that you could only dream of.
The Right Honourable Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the UK, founder of the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. We're delighted to have Honourable...
In this video, I'm going to be sharing the secrets of one of the sources of his power, namely his incredible array of hand gestures. In fact, there is tremendous hidden magical power in these hands. These are the hands of power. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the skeleton key with which to decode the hands of power. Some say there is dark and symbolic magic hidden in those hands. Now, the first move we're going to be looking at is actually probably his most famous one. That is the Blair Blades. If this was Super Smash Brothers, the Blair Blades would be Blair's standard attack. You know, when you just press the A button, you know, it's almost like he automatically does the Blair Blades when he talks. But the Blair Blades are basically an open gesture which says, you can trust me. Hey, this is Tone speaking here. I listen to the Beatles. You can trust me. You can trust me. This is a way of Blair being able to emphasize things in an open and approachable manner. Standard 101 Tony Blair.
Goodness me. He's becoming...
Tony boy!
Mother, Father, may I wish you both an enormously happy new Christmas under new Labour, as we look forward with tremendous newness to the new challenges of the new millennium. Thank you.
In certain parts of the media, where the line between news and commentary gets blurred, so the fact that, support, the difference between support and lack of support is so profound in terms of the effect on politics. You might have bad editorials, you might have bad comments, but you wouldn't have a problem with the news part of it. But those parts, and they tend to be very powerful, where you fall out with them, you then get a problem in the whole of the paper, the news as well as the comment. That's when that's when, frankly, those relationships, as I say, move from being sensible to being crucial in a way that's probably not healthy.
Another extremely standard Blair move is the Clinton thumb. Now, this is something that pretty much all politicians have done since Blair. Boris Johnson and David Cameron also utilised this move, as did George W. Bush. This is a way of emphasising a point, basically without pointing. Pointing is seen as a bit aggressive, whereas the thumb point, the Clinton thumb, you can be assertive without being aggressive, and also the fist suggests that you're in control. So this is one of the reasons why all politicians use this as a basically standard move, and it's very much part of the Blair repertoire.
So those papers that take a particular view on a policy, a party, or a person, then that is driven with an aggression and frankly a prejudice that means you cross the line, I think.
I think if the Labour Party had taken a strong position on Brexit and said to the country, look, we're going to give the government the chance to negotiate an agreement.
Problem, which lies in formal and informal education systems, educating young people, and we give people a proper democratic process.
He cannot even get to that. Oh, yes. Yeah. Is it not extraordinary?
Order, House must come to order.
Now, sometimes the Clinton thumb is not enough and he needs to draw extra emphasis on something, and that is where he'll bring out the double point where he uses both of his hands to emphasize something in particular that he thinks is really important.
But let's be very clear about this, even if a perversion of the religion of Islam, and I totally agree. Look, if you're stage to put something actually down in writing, but if you do your proper media operation and relations and communication and so on, and launching yourself politically into a kind of culture war with the right.
Now, a more subtle Blair gesture that many might miss is what I'd call the Blair Swipe. Blair, above all else, is a progressive. He's a forward thinker who believes that we have moved beyond the politics of the 20th century. Socialism versus capitalism and all those things. In Blair's mind, all these problems are already solved, and his brand of third-way managerialism is the kind of way forward. So he often uses this kind of swiping gesture as a way of metaphorically clearing the decks. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The Blair Swipe. It's a subtle one, but if you watch him for long enough, you'll notice whenever he wants to dismiss something or whenever he wants something away, he uses the Blair Swipe.
It's preconditional, right? You may decide you'll vote on the basis of the health service, but if you've got any doubts about patriotism, and that is just forget it. And I'm afraid people just had a lot of doubts. And polling, it's why I always used to say to people, and I learned this through the 1980s and 90s, which is the fallacy of polling individual policies and thinking you're learning something. They're always, how could we go into an election, which we just did, with a whole lot of reselections hanging over MPs? So when you need them to be out on the doorstep engaging with the public, they're fighting trench war battles in their local constituency parties.
To a culture of hatred to those that are different. And if we don't deal with that, we can debate the political issues forever, but we're never going to get to the root of the problem.
Alistair, I've got enough issues. When you're me, you've got to choose the issues you want to get into. Right. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this whole new strain of work is to push back against the rightist populism, some of which obviously was as echoes in the campaign that brought him to power.
And the government.
However, for me, I'll judge him on what actually happens.
Another absolutely standard Blair move is the steeple. The steeple is like Blair coming back to the centre, steadying himself, coming back to base, as it were. It says, I am sensible, I am centred, I am the adult in the room. And he uses the steeple continuously. It's one of the permanent moves that he does, to go on the video games analogy. If the blade is his A standard attack, the steeple is like his Hadouken, like his Ryu doing a fireball or something like that, standard special move of Blair's.
What we thought was that if you removed the dictatorship and gave people the chance to elect their government...
Distinguish, however, between, as it were, domestic policy objective. Because for the first time in modern history, there is going to be...
How do we then get them to the people that need them?
Yeah, I think it's a really important question. And so Albert was talking earlier about the politics of the situation. Now, I think that there is a way we can reassess and refashion a relationship with Europe outside of the European Union, where we're looking at the areas of cooperation, defense and security, energy, maybe technology, maybe there are other areas of cooperation. We're just at this very, as we described earlier, at this inflection moment where it really does require political leaders to have such a clear idea of what they stand for and what they want to achieve. You can have a debate about whether it's the right or the wrong decision, but I'd also point out, and I think many people in Iraq would, that Saddam Hussein wasn't exactly a force for stability, peace, and prosperity for his country, and was responsible for killing many, many hundreds of thousands of people. So, look, we can debate this, but what interests me is that...
Now, in this next part of the video, we're going to be moving on to Blair's more advanced attacks, his much more you'd have to study Blair for some time to notice these ones. This move is called the Compressor. And this is something that Blair does when he's talking about something that he wants to put away. He's talking about a problem and he's trying to literally compress it down, compact it like rubbish, to be packed up and conceptually thrown away. That's what he's doing. He's mentally minimizing the problem. It's not as important as it seems.
And this issue to do with the importance of those key media relationships in circumstances where you are aware of the fact that conversation has got to be in the real world with people who are, living their lives and who've decided, and you start to figure it out. And the conclusion I have come to is one thing, and at some point we've got to deal with the root problem. The world is multipolar and polarized around essentially, I think, two blocks that are emerging. One of countries that are close allies of America, the other which are allies of China. In political change, and still keep it as this cohesive, institution. Fix the trading relationship, outside of the single market and customs union, but we're going to have to work out how we deal with the problems. You're not representing your country's interest by becoming part of this narrow nationalism. You say you are, but it's a false sort of patriotism, because in the end your national interest lies in cooperating with others. Because look, you take climate change.
The next move, and this is really one of the huge power moves. This is like a kind of Mortal Kombat fatality of a move. The claw comes out when there is something that Blair wants under his control that is not currently under his control. It's almost like the excitement of bringing it under the remit of his control is too much, and it's in his grasp, and he's drawing it in under his power.
I also think this issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is. Because in the end, you need the data. You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure. And many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that.
And the final move that we're going to be looking at is also the rarest. That is the Death Grin. This is reserved for those rare occasions where somebody challenges Blair or sufficiently annoys him that he brings out this kind of passive aggressive or even outright aggressive death grin. Sometimes it's accompanied by a long stare, and really it's quite terrifying when it comes out. You see a little glimpse of the Dark Lord within.
And the sort of impact that's had on me as well. Do you dream about it?
No.
So what do you dream about?
Lots of different things. That
You don't dream about stuff that you might think, I'm being prodded there about Iraq. Do you ever dream about Gordon?
Oh, for God's sake, Alistair, get off the damn dreaming thing.
Do you ever dream about Gordon?
No, I'm not.
That's a lie. You must dream about Gordon.
You obviously have a problem with your dreams.
Go
and I'm not your shrink.
Okay. So you've never dreamt about Gordon? I know you've dreamt about Gordon because you've told me about dreams about Gordon. I think some of them are in the diaries. Volume 7. When was the last time you spoke to Gordon?
A short time ago, actually. What were you doing? I think Scotland, British politics.
You just bump into him at
we see each other.
When was the last time you spoke to Corbyn?
I don't know. That's some time ago, I guess.
Has he ever phoned you up and said, Tony, you just used to do this job, got any tips?
No, but, why should he?
Well, because you've done the job.
Yeah, but, we obviously disagree strongly about the direction of the Labour Party.
Do you think there's any chance ever that Jeremy Corbyn will be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
I think we've got to pass on that one.
So that's a no.
I've just said to you, we're going to maintain our traditional values.
Mr. Blair, Ban Ki-moon has urged African leaders to stop treating gay people as second-class citizens and criminals, given that good governance and human rights go hand in hand. What is your advice to Madam President and Liberia on this gay rights issue?
Yeah, one of the advantages of doing what I do now is that I can choose the issues I get into and the issues I don't. So, you know, for us, the priorities around power, roads, jobs, delivery. I'm not saying these issues aren't important, but the President's given her position, and this is not one for me.
So good governance and human rights don't go hand in hand?
Damison, you know how long I've been doing these types of interviews?
I do know.
Right, okay. So I'm not giving you an answer on it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions or if you've spotted any gestures that I've missed, do let me know. And, yeah, share this around, give it to your friends, like and subscribe, join the channel. But most importantly of all, everyone, get out. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll just remind you again, I have my spring sale on, promo code MELLOW, 25% off all the courses. You can get some awesome stuff there. And most importantly of all, ladies and gentlemen, get out.